What if Deku joined Team JPDE? Chapter 65. The Schnee Family. Monday. Day 162. Jack, Penny, David and Evelyn had all noticed a change in Deku. I mean, he's eating, sleeping and studying. His life signs are all regular, Penny said. But he's barely interacting with any of us. He's ignoring me, of all people. Me, Evelyn said. Yes, he's been quite pensive these last few days, which can be considered the usual, but it seems like he's more pensive than ever before, David said. Did something happen that we didn't notice? I can't think of anything, Evelyn said. Asshole, Jack grumbled. Me either. I can't think of any event that may have caused this shift in mood. I fear we have no choice but to inquire directly with him, Penny said. Sure, you go do that. I'm going to get some breakfast, Jack said. What? Seriously? You're not even a little worried? He's our friend, Evelyn said. He's also our partner. Why are you so indifferent to this, David asked. I know. The reason I'm so indifferent to this is that I already know what's causing him to act this way. I already know what's wrong. I already know what's going to come out of his mouth. That lucky son of a bitch, which, I need to remind myself, I pushed into letting this happen too. So, no. I'm not going to be here when he fesses up that getting a crumb turned his life upside down, and he's now desperate for the whole damn loaf. Screw you guys, I'm going for breakfast, Jack said. Jack then left. Well, that was rude. What's wrong with her, Evelyn asked. I'm a bit puzzled. What was she referring to, Penny asked. Ditto. Why was she so pissed, David asked. Oh, I think I know. She's mad that Aiju may be just a bit too successful with older women for Jacqueline's tastes, but I don't see how this could relate. Well, let's try and hear it from the horse's mouth, Evelyn said. A talking horse is our best bet to understand this. But how do they know Aijuku, Penny asked. Wow, Penny. It's been a while, David said. Well, these are exhausting circumstances. He's also been ignoring me, you know, Penny said. Wow, have I not been able to satisfy you too, David asked. No. Well. I mean. You've been exemplary. It's Penny said. We also miss our Aiju time, Evelyn said. Calm down, you two. I'm only teasing. Let's go talk to him, David said. The three then made their way to the balcony. Aiju. Honey. We're getting kinda worried, here. You've been uncharacteristically out of sorts, lately, Evelyn said. Did something happen? What ails you, Penny said. You can tell us, Deku. No matter what, we'll always love and care for you, David said. Callie Belladonna, Deku said. Callie Belladonna, the three exclaimed. She's been non-stop since that night, Deku said. Which, by the way, thanks for the heads up, there, Deku said. Don't look at me. I only found out afterwards, it's these two and Jack to blame, David said. You're welcome, Penny said. We thought it'd be good experience. I mean, you came back with a little new trick about, Evelyn said. Not the point. It was a fun experience, yes, but it was just the one time. Keeping up that kind of relationship with Blake's mother, Deku said. Hold up, wait a minute. Are you saying Blake's mother is pestering you for sex, David asked. Yes. I mean, no. What she's doing is. Deku said. Will you take a deep breath, already, Evelyn asked. Deku inhaled and then exhaled. That's better. So, from the top, Penny asked. Okay, I guess it's from the morning after. You know. I was still reeling when I woke up. Not much happened, but what happened was Holy shit. She instead acted like, well, like a mature woman who had done this many times before. She went into it a little more over breakfast, helped set my mind at ease. It took longer than I expected to persuade me, but I, came around to see her point of view. Anyway, after my nerves were at ease, we parted amiably and I came back. You know the rest of that, Deku said. Your face, Evelyn said. And Jack was very much jealous. While still prodding you for details, David said. Yeah, I know. So, we met a couple more times since then. We talked about this and that. Blake is a constant subject, Deku said. Pretty normal. So Evelyn asked. So, the last time. She started making some, interested comments, Deku said. Oh, my Penny said. I, avoided them using my professional skills of changing the subject, Deku said. Pussy, Evelyn said. No, Cal is the pussy. Deku is a bitch, David said. Hey, this is a bullying-free environment, bad. Anyway, that only made her think she needed to try again later, after I had come to properly process it. And she has. By now she must have realized that I've been, playing hard to get. So I can only imagine that she'll be very much direct next time, Deku said. But you also don't want to stop meeting her, correct? Evelyn asked. No. She's nice and interesting, and until she can arrange to meet Blake, I'm the only person able to give her some updates on her daughter. I can't just cut her off like that, Deku said. So, in short, you feel like having further close encounter of the sexual kind would be weird and counterproductive. At the same time, you don't want to interrupt your amicable relationship, Penny said. But you fear that next time she asks you to jump, you'll just say how high, Evelyn said. That's it in a nutshell. Any ideas, Deku asked. I think I already have an idea, David said. You do, Deku asked. So fast. I haven't even finished computing all the variables, Penny said. Well then, what you got, Hunky? Evelyn asked. Why don't you just tell her what you just told us, David said. Oh my god, I'm a fucking idiot, Deku yelled. Wait, Izuku, you mean you haven't? Penny asked. Not directly, no, Deku said. Izuku, honestly, I highly doubt Miss Belladonna possesses telepathic abilities, Penny said. Cut him some slack, love. It's not easiest conversation to have, and our boy toy here really has a hard time saying no, Evelyn said. Especially to someone so hot and sexy, David said. Moo, Penny said. Evelyn and David are spot on. It's very hard to say no to such a good time. Hey Callie, I would love to do more sexy stuff, but I think that we shouldn't, Deku said. Maybe a little, but I'm sure she will understand, Evelyn said. But what if it offends her, Deku asked. Offend? Deku, this is not about her being offended or not, this is about you. I'm sure she'll understand your reasons why, David said. David's right. You don't owe her sex just because you did stuff together before and she wants more. If you don't want to do more, just tell her so and that's it, Evelyn said. Normally, you shouldn't even have to offer an explanation. If you don't want to do something because it makes you uncomfortable for any reason, you have the right to refuse to do it. We have refused each other's company when we were otherwise occupied, no, Penny said. Or just not in the mood, Evelyn said. Or recovering from prior engagements, David said. Well, yeah, Deku said. There you go. And I'm sure Miss Belladonna will understand, Penny said. From what you told us, she's not just smoking hot, but also pretty smart and open-minded. I think you're just overthinking it, honey, Evelyn said. Yeah. I probably am I not? Thanks. I'll see if she's free to meet up this afternoon so we can have that conversation, Deku said. You do that. But we should head to the mess hall, otherwise we'll be going hungry till lunch, David said. Agreed, this bun is hungry, Evelyn said. The four then headed to the mess hall. After classes had ended for the day, Deku approached Ruby. So it's time, Ruby asked. Yes. We're going down there this Sunday, Deku said. We'll be there. What will you need us to do, Ruby asked. Simply put, we'll need you guys to be our heroes if something starts going really wrong. We've thought of a way of transportation that's much faster than an elevator ride, but it's going to be a last resort. You and your team. You're gonna need to guard it and use it if anything goes awry. You're going to be our lifeline, Deku said. Gee, way to put the pressure on me, Ruby said. Figured that this way you won't feel too bad about being on the front lines, Deku said. That you had to plan for something like this only makes me more worried, Ruby said. Well, you know the old saying. Hope for the best, Deku said. Plan for the worst. I know, Ruby said. Ruby sighed. Then I'm going to hope I will be just worrying and standing around uselessly. At what time should we meet up, Ruby asked. 8 AM, nice and easy, Deku said. Huh. That's later than when you usually meet, isn't it, Ruby asked. Yes, but we want to make sure that everyone involved is at 100% on the day. It'll certainly help Evelyn, she hates getting up early on the weekend, Deku said. Ruby giggled. Meanwhile, Glinda Peach said. Vio. Professor Peach. What is it, Glinda asked. Care to join me outside? We need to talk, Peach said. Sure, Glinda said, a bit confused. The two went out to the gardens. Violet. What is it, Glinda asked. Please tell me you're not agreeing with Ozpin on Amber, Peach asked. I ain't. And even if I was, I most certainly wouldn't agree with murdering her, Glinda said. I knew it, Peach said. Then why did you even ask, Glinda asked. We've not exactly been present in each other's lives in the past few years, have we, Peach asked. No. No, we haven't, Glinda said. The Glinda I know, the Glinda I was on a team with, would have never allowed something like that, but people can change over time. Still, I wanted to trust you, Peach said. I figured. Otherwise, letting me know that you know about Amber's situation would have been a pretty risky move. Which leads me to believe your relationship with Amber doesn't end with just a simple encounter in Peak, does it, Glinda asked. No. And I'm sorry I haven't been truthful with you, Glinda, but Peach said. I understand, Violet. For the students, right, Glinda asked. Yes. And, well, the others who aren't exactly students, but Peach said. Deku had gone into Vale to meet with Callie. Good afternoon, Izuku, Callie said. Hey, Callie, Deku said. Have you waited long, Callie asked. You ask that every time. And I'm always exactly. Wait. Exactly, Deku said. Callie said. Callie, have you made me wait exactly 5 minutes every single time we've met since, Deku asked. Now, why would I do that, Callie asked. I don't know, Deku said. Then I guess it's just a coincidence. Let's take a seat, Callie said. The two then sat down. Did I freak you out that much, Callie asked. Huh. I'm sorry, Deku asked. With the 5 minutes wait thing. Didn't think you'd notice so soon, Callie said. So it is on purpose. Why, Deku asked. Simple enough. What do you do while waiting for me, Callie asked. Not much. I usually just think of. Oh, Deku said. Indeed, Callie said. Callie, I wanted to talk about something, Deku said. Oh, that's new. I'm usually the one bringing a topic to the table, so to speak. Which makes me think that maybe I made you feel like our relationship is utilitarian on my part, Callie said. I don't, Callie, I promise you, Deku said. Are you sure? You were acting a little weird last time, Callie said. I was, but not because of something like that. I don't think you've been using me, so to speak, Deku said. Maybe I've been doing it without thinking. Taking advantage of your kindness, Callie said. Callie, I offered to help with your intelligence on the Black Cat. I enjoy your company. And I really enjoyed the other stuff too. You've done nothing wrong other than surprise me, Deku said. Heh, I guess I did. Such mean partners you have, not even giving you a heads up, Callie said. A bit. Anyway, that's not why I've been acting weird. It's just, after the shock wore off, I thought, I'm in a relationship with Blake now, and Deku said. Keeping up that kind of relationship with her mother would feel weird, Callie asked. Yeah. And I had no idea how to breach the subject, Deku said. Oh, I must have made things extra hard for you. No pun intended, Callie said. Anyway, yeah. I think you're great and I don't regret anything we've done, but Deku said. I understand, Izuku. It's alright, we'll be keeping our relationship above the sheets, so to speak, Callie said. You don't mind, Deku asked. Well, I do mind a little, but I can't very well force you, can I? I promise to not try and pursue you anymore. No harm done, Callie said. Phew. That takes a huge weight off my shoulders, not gonna lie, Deku said. You like me that much, Callie asked. I do. I mean, I've been really enjoying our talks. You're literally the only adult I regularly talk to casually like this, Deku said. Must be hard, living so far away from your family and not being able to easily contact them, Callie said. Yeah. But thankfully I have such good friends and loved ones I can talk to. They're all so unique in their own ways, Deku said. I thought you wanted to keep things above the sheets, you flatter. And you're pretty interesting yourself, Izuku. I really appreciate your company too. I don't go for just anyone, you know, Callie said. Now I'm the one who feels flattered. And honestly, I am curious about the rules and the background. I would like to know the details so my relationships can at least keep everybody happy, Deku said. Understandable. If you're interested, I wouldn't mind going into more detail. Not in public, though. I hope you understand, Callie said. Oh, absolutely. Next time, then. We can meet at your apartment, Deku said. My thoughts exactly. Now, shall we get our usual tea, Callie asked. In the evening, Deku went to Crowbar to find Winter. He quickly found her due to the white hair and had to admit to himself, Winter looked gorgeous with her hair now in a ponytail and her casual get-up. Good evening, Miss Winter, Deku said. I should have changed locations after the first interloper, Winter said. Sorry for the sudden appearance, but I wanted to talk, Deku said. Talk, Winter asked. Yes. Talk, Deku said. Why would you want to talk to me after, Winter asked. Yeah, believe me, I've been asking myself that exact same question. And I want to talk to you because I want to understand. And Weiss. She wants to understands, too, Deku said. In that case, we have nothing to talk about, Winter said. You don't want to talk? Fine. Then you'll listen to me. You owe me that much, Deku said. Do what you wish, Winter said. So, when I asked Weiss about you, two things stuck out to me. First, that she still thinks the world of you. Second, your life took a turn, years ago. So at first I thought it was your years in the military that had caused the change from the sociable sister, Weiss remembers, Deku said. Winter remained silent. But after talking with another person, I now understand that your change in career was just one of the side effects of something that happened before that, Deku said. Another? Who are you talking about, Winter asked. Who do you think, Deku asked. Deku then showed Winter his scroll, specifically showing her a person she did not expect to see in his contacts. How? How did you? Winter asked. Deku began to give his explanation. A few days ago Deku was calling a number that he had gotten with the help of Professor Polendina and Seal. Who is this? The person asked. Good. Good evening, Mrs. Willow Schnee. My name is Ijuku Midoriya. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but I needed to talk to you because of something that happened between your daughters, Weiss and Winter. What happened was that Winter learned that I was Weiss's boyfriend, but I was, Deku said. Weiss's boyfriend? Did she give you this number? Willow asked. No. I know you're not on speaking terms. She doesn't know I'm calling you. Anyway, I'm not calling about Weiss. I'm calling about Winter, Deku said. Willow began to laugh. Oh my gods, so let me get this straight. You're Weiss's boyfriend, you didn't get my number from her, you know that she hasn't spoken to me in years and you called to talk about Winter? Willow asked. Yes, Deku said. Willow began to laugh again. Oh, gods, I haven't laughed like that in. Okay, I'm good now. So, you said you called because of Winter. You met her as well? Willow asked. Yes, though first impressions on both sides weren't great, which spiraled into why I'm calling you. I was wondering if you could help me understand something. It's a bit of a long story, Deku said. Well, I literally don't have anything better to do with my time, so go on. I'm all ears, Willow said. As I was saying, me and Winter didn't get off to the best start because Deku said. Deku then told Willow what happened. Back to the present. So, she helped me connect the dot. It's not a full picture, but it's enough for me to understand, Deku said. She told you. Why would she do that? Winter asked. Well, first and foremost, because she doesn't want Weiss to cut ties with all of her family members. Because she worries about you more than she does Weiss, always. But you already know that, don't you? Deku asked. Winter stayed silent. Also, I may have promised her something I'm going to regret down the line, Deku said. You? My mother asked something of you? Winter asked. Yeah. Which she also made me promise not to tell you about. Anyway, Winter. She told me about that night. When, for the first time in your entire life, you came to her. Desperate. And, considering what happened with Weiss, what triggered your actions and the words you said to me? Winter. Who hurt you so badly? Deku asked. Let's make one thing clear, here. I'm not looking for salvation, or absolution or someone to mend my broken heart. I've healed, I made something out of myself, I moved on, Winter said. Yeah, because I feel so inclined to think you as weak after my torture, Deku said. Winter sighed. Still, I have to face the fact that the event influenced my actions. Completely shutting myself off from the sentimental left me woefully untrained and unprepared to deal with Weiss's situation, Winter said. Which, to be honest, is something that came completely out of left field for everyone involved, as well, Deku said. Is it, now? Then, let's make a deal, Winter said. What kind of deal? Deku asked. I'm about to tell you about the lowest point in my entire life. Give you a level of access to myself that no one has ever had, barring my mother. Despite what happened, the wrongness of my actions, I still cannot trust you. So if this is really about helping me and Weiss, I want you to tell me about yourself too. In kind, Winter said. All right. If we both promise to keep all of this to ourselves, Deku said. Of course. The threat should keep each other in check, Winter said. I agree. So Deku asked. Her name was Julia, Winter said. Was she a classmate? Deku asked. An upperclassman. 3 years my senior. I had known her for years because she was the oldest daughter of one of my father's business partners. And yet she was so different from everyone else. She was so mature and knowledgeable, the only person I could have a proper conversation with. Funny, outgoing, devoid of the general stuck-up attitude I had grown to hate in grown-ups and teenagers from high society. And she was also pretty, Winter said. You didn't see it coming at all, Deku asked. I wasn't stupid. I knew why so many other kids wanted to be my friend. I knew so many boys wanted to know me. I guess I let my guard down around her because she was a girl. Or maybe because I really fell for her. If it had been anything less, it wouldn't have hurt so much, Winter said. Many years ago. Oh my gods, I can't believe it, a female student said. Pics or it didn't happen, huh? Never doubt me again, Julia said. Ah, you lucky little slut. If I had known she was a muff driver, I would have totally gotten to her before you, the female student said. Keep telling yourself that. Either way, I win, Julia said. You seriously think you can keep her to yourself until you tie the knot, the female student asked. That's what Schnee did with her mother. The genes are there. And I certainly have much more charm than some scrawny, nerdy pencil pusher, Julia said. My word. Wait till word gets around, you'll have to beat other girls off her with a stick, the female student said. Like I care. She only wants and trusts me. I made sure of that. She even wanted to introduce me to her sister, Julia said. Her sister? Why her sister? Even if, my gods, is adorable, the female student said. Beats me. But hey, I got the older Schnee, didn't I? How hard will it be to win the younger one's approval? And maybe, Julia said. I know that look, girlfriend. What are you thinking, the female student asked. Nothing much, really, it's just. It's good to have options, you know, Julia said. Wise, Winter thought. Stay away from Weiss, Winter yelled, entering the room. It was one hell of a way to unlock the family semblance, Winter said. No one ever knew, Deku asked. Only me, Julia, that friend of hers. And my parents. My father cares a lot about the family name, so not even rumors about it exists anymore. So? Do you understand, now, Winter asked. Yes. Yes, I do, Deku said. But that's not enough to explain my actions. The fear of history repeats itself is one part of it, of course, but I still, honestly, sincerely do not trust someone who would entail such a relationship so out of the ordinary. What kind of person would even attempt something like that? I don't understand, Winter said. Someone not accustomed to your definition of ordinary. I guess it's my turn now. I was subject to discrimination for most of my life, Deku said. You were? Are you secretly a faunus, Winter asked. No, I'm not a faunus, Deku said. Then why were you discriminated against, Winter asked. That requires some background. First of all, where do you think I'm from, Deku asked. Well, from your appearance, I would guess you're from Mistral or a settlement in Anima, Winter said. You'd be correct with your latter guess. I'm from a remote settlement in Anima, and when I say remote, I mean very remote. We're so remote that CCTS's network practically doesn't exist, Deku said. Wow, that is very remote, Winter said. Yes. And being that remote also means we don't see a lot of outside hunters, so we provide our own security. Which means we need constant supply of capable fighters for when others die, retire, or move away. And to make sure of that, every child begins training at a very young age. Most have their aura unlocked at the age of 4 and discovered their semblance before the age of 10, Deku said. 4. I mean, I was young when I unlocked my semblance, but 4, Winter said. Well, it's what needs to be done. Anyway, when I turned 4, My aura pool was basically non-existent, and so I was considered weak and a burden. The other kids would bully and hurt me because of it, especially since I had a big dream of becoming a hunter, Deku said. That's awful. But you've clearly proven them wrong, Winter said. I have. And in only under 2 years, the first year just being full of getting my body into shape, and then the next 6 months getting a handle on my semblance, Deku said. I see you've had it rough. But defying all the odds to do what you dream and proving everyone wrong. I can respect that. And I know you would never hurt Weiss, I'll back off. But I'll still be watching you, if you do hurt her, Winter said. I'll be cut into 6 pieces, or something of the sorts. I understand, Deku said. Yeah, something like that, Winter said. Now, it's late, so I'll take my leave, but before I go, Deku said. What is it? Winter asked. Answer your mother's calls next time, Deku said. Deku then left, and on cue, Winter's scroll went off. She smiled and answered. Hey, Mom, Winter said. You made me have the craziest conversation, young lady, Willow said. Yeah. Me too, Winter said. Tuesday. Day 163. Down in Vale. So you believe you're fit for duty again? Ironwood asked. Yes, General. I apologize for my conduct and the gross misuse of Atlas authoritative power, Winter said. You used it the way it was supposed to. Problem was in your judgment. So there's no longer any animosity towards Mr. Midoriya? Ironwood asked. He is a little pissant with no sense of knowing when to stop in anything in his life. But he's not a criminal mastermind trying to seduce his way into the Schnee family, Winter said. A decisive change in outlook. And what caused this shift? Ironwood asked. He's been very upfront about himself and trying to mend my relationship with Weiss. Which would be counterproductive, no. Also, my mother seems to like him, Winter said. She would know about golf diggers, wouldn't she? But how did he even get in touch with her? Ironwood asked. The pissant is surprisingly resourceful. I have no idea, Winter said. So you say that Willow Schnee actually likes him? Ironwood asked. Yes, but I think she also got something out of him in return, Winter said. What could possibly Willow Schnee want with a first-year student? Ironwood asked. I haven't the foggiest. And considering my mother's penchant for random moods, Winter said. You don't know who to be worried for? Ironwood said. I don't know who to be worried for, Winter said. Meanwhile at Beacon. What? What do you mean I should expect word from Winter soon? Weiss asked. Exactly what I said. I think we're out of the woods with the whole situation, Deku said. But how? I don't. Explosive dust above, you sort her out. Are you alright? Weiss asked. We just talked. We came to an understanding, and she no longer thinks I'm a gold digger. I also know why she overreacted the way she did, Deku said. You understand? Weiss asked. Still don't approve, but yes, Deku said. How can you when I couldn't? Why did you even try to understand? Weiss asked. Well, as someone noted, I think I have a soft spot for women in distress. Also, I can tell how much she means to you, Deku said. I love you, Weiss said, then kissing Deku. Weiss then got a call on her scroll. Is it her? Deku asked. Yes, that's her ringtone. I guess it's my turn to understand, then Weiss said. Yes. I know it may be difficult, but remember, that woman loves you more than anything else on Remnant, Deku said. I know, Weiss said. Weiss then went to answer her scroll. You. How could you? Why do you have Winter's same ringtone? Weiss yelled. Deku wondered why it's the caller that decides the ringtone and not the receiver. You. What? We haven't heard from each other in years. This familiarity is hardly, Weiss said. Weiss, Who is it? Deku asked. No one, Izuku. I was just about to, Weiss said. The hell do you mean? Say hi to Mr. Boyfriend for me, Weiss yelled. Oh no. It's her, Deku thought. What do you mean you already know him? Weiss asked. No, I'm not putting you on speaker. If you know him, prove it. Tell me something only he would know, Weiss said. Oh, Deku said. You told her about the swimsuit, Weiss yelled. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to until she told me, Deku said. I never told you we weren't on speaking terms, did I? Weiss asked. No, you didn't, Deku said. No one asked you. Fine, Weiss said. Weiss then put her scroll on speaker. Much better. Good morning, Mr. Boyfriend, Willow said. Good morning, Miss Willow, Deku said. Oh, tut tut tut. What are you supposed to call me? Willow said. Not in front of Weiss, Deku said. You gave your word, Willow said. You did what? About what? Weiss asked. But I thought it was just for private conversations, Deku said. Never said that. So, be a good boy, Willow said. What's happening? What's even happening? Weiss asked. Yes. Mother, Deku said. The hell? Weiss yelled. How I've missed the sound of that word out the lips of a young man, Willow said. Do not ignore me. What is this all about? Weiss asked. Oh, quite simple. I told him about winter's darkest secret and in return Mr. Boyfriend does some things for me, Willow said. One of which being that, Deku said. Weiss laughed. You. What would you ever know about winter? Weiss asked. Oh, definitely more than you, young lady. That lip would be better deserved if I wasn't the only reason you're going to be talking to Winter again, Willow said. What the hell does that? Weiss yelled. Weiss paused. Winter. Winter still talks to you? Weiss asked. She never stopped, Willow said. But she told me, Weiss said. Because she wanted you to keep at least some kind of tie to your family, doofus. You won't hear me mounting defense of your father and brother, of course, but don't you think you might have been too harsh on Mama? Willow said. You're everything I don't want to be. A trophy, a target, a weak, drunk, helpless, Weiss said. Whoa, there, Weiss, Deku said. Oh, come off your high horse, heiress. I was a woman in love, Willow said. That's not enough. That can't be enough, Weiss yelled. Sometimes it is. Winter understands that. You're still obviously too far up your own ass to do the same, though. Shame, Willow said. Whoa, Deku said. Fuck you, Weiss yelled. Whoa, Deku said. Weiss then hung up. Weiss, don't you think that was a bit? Deku said. Shut up. You know nothing about her, Weiss yelled. Don't get angry at me for trying to tell you that maybe telling your mother to go fuck herself is a bit too far, Deku yelled. She was just spouting bullshit. And I don't need you interfering. My family is broken and you'll never understand because your family is perfect, Weiss yelled. Deku then left. Weiss felt terrible, feeling she had gone too far. After classes had ended, Ruby had called a team meeting to tell the rest of Team RWB why they were going to peak to help Team JPDE. So, that's pretty much everything, Ruby said. Ruby, don't you think that embarking the entire team on such a mission required a consultation before giving your agreement? Weiss asked. Maybe, Ruby said. Especially considering what we're already dealing with ourselves, Blake said. I guess, Ruby said. And also considering they're at odds with the headmaster, something Fierce Young said. Okay, first of all, we've been doing stuff like they've been doing, too, but the headmaster hasn't gotten angry at us. Why? Ruby asked. How? Young said. Second, it's true that we have our own things to do, but do you really think that missing a single day of availability is gonna make any kind of difference when we've been hitting a dead end for weeks? Now Ruby asked. Well, Blake said. Third, I apologize for not consulting you earlier, but I did so because I trust in you. Are you really going to tell me that you're not going to help Team JPDE with this? That the work of Team RWBY is so important that we can't spare a day to help some classmates? Ruby asked. That's not what I said. We're hunters. Or we're going to be, anyway. Helping people is what we're training for. If you don't want to help, it's fine, but it'd better any because of my actions. Because I don't want to be the leader of a team that can only help themselves, Ruby said. There was a moment of silence. Did that just happen? Ruby asked. Wow, Young said. Ruby, that was Wise said. I can't believe you, Blake said. OMG, I'm sorry, Ruby yelled. Don't be, you nincompoop. That's the first time I've actually seen you act like a leader, Wise said. Ha, Ruby said. Way to go, little sis. I knew you had it in you, Young said. Ruby said. You're right. Even with the White Fang and Torchwick. We're doing it to help others, ultimately. This is no different, Blake said. I think I need to go lay down, Ruby said. And Ruby did just that. Up in the lab ship. My name is Winter Schnee. Recently, I did something reprehensible while in the throes of my own obsession. Blinded by my own ignorance. Knowing the pitfalls and suffering of love without enough experience in its workings to recognize something genuine. If a bit atypical, in my defense. This in turn, led me to. I hurt people. Including the one who is dearest to me. The matter is resolved, no thanks to me, but there are still amends to make, Winter thought. I'm sorry for what transpired, sir, and for the mess left afterwards, Winter said. Well, considering who had to clean it up, I think the apology for that particular detail would be best served given to Seal, Enrico said. Don't you have cleaners? Winter asked. Indeed. But cleaning up a puddle of vomit or two builds character, I say, Enrico said. Winter Weiss said, entering the lab. Weiss? Winter questioned. Weiss went silent. I'm sorry for not letting myself be heard, but I'm making my rounds of apologies and I thought it'd be better if, Winter said. Help? Weiss said. Excuse me? Winter asked. I need your help, Winter. I did something terrible, Weiss said. You? What? Weiss, what? Start from the beginning, please, Winter said. Enrico quietly left the room. Weiss then told Winter what happened. Once again, my lies come to excise their payment at the worst possible moment. And yet, looking back at it, I'd do everything exactly the same. Weiss was so little. She was in no way ready to know about something like that. But I should have told her once she started alienating Mother, too. So she'd understand, Winter thought. I'm a terrible person, Weiss said. Weiss, no. It's not your fault. There's something you should know, Winter said. Winter, even if there's something that would have prevented the situation, blowing up on Izuku like I did has no excuse, Weiss said. No. It doesn't. But, Weiss, think about it. He tried to understand me despite what I did. I have no doubt that he understands the what and the why, or at least he's willing to, Winter said. Then, why did he leave? The look in his eyes, Weiss said. 2 reasons. First, to let you understand that you had gone too far. Second, to allow both of you time to calm down and avoid saying something even worse. He was just being the better person, Winter said. So, what should I do? Weiss asked. Apologize to him. In person, Winter said. I know that, but I don't Wise said. I will call him for you, okay, Winter said. Thanks. But Winter, first. Can you tell me? Can you please tell me? What happened to you, Wise asked. The two had gone out to the Beacon Gardens. And so. I tell her everything, without sparing nothing. How much I loved Julia, how much I really believed in her. In us. And how the only person who could fully understand me was our mother, Winter thought. And that's everything that happened, Winter said. I don't understand. How could you even, Wise asked. Wise. I think this whole debacle should have taught you that sometimes emotions overrule any kind of logical thought, Winter said. Wise said. Anger, love, pride. Any emotion, if in great numbers, can cause people to lose sight of themselves. Make them blind to things, even faults. And sadly, yes. There are people who would exploit that, Winter said. Then. How are you supposed to defend yourself, Wise asked. I know this sounds hypocritical, but do as I say, not as I do. Friends, Winter said. Friends, Wise asked. Surround yourself with as many people as possible, especially the ones who are different from you. They may see things you don't. As a general rule of thumb, the people who really love you have no qualms in being angry at you and telling you to get off it if you go too far, Winter said. Think I should apologize to Mom, Wise asked. I think you should make an effort to understand her. I think she remains in her loveless marriage out of indolence. Or because she prefers feeling sorry for herself, Winter asked. I guess not. Speaking of Mom, though, did you know she asked Izuku to call her mother in return for her help, Wise asked. No, I didn't. That's incredibly weird, Winter said. Also incredibly sad, Winter thought. And apparently, that's just one of a few favors he owes her, Wise said. Do you know what the others are, Winter asked. Not really. Guess I'll ask him later, Wise said. So, how long till he gets here, Wise asked. A few more minutes. Better prepare yourself, Winter said. Honestly, I think it'd be better used relaxing myself. The whole argument and fallout has stressed me out, Wise said. I see. The last few days have been stressful and exhausting for me as well, Winter said. We should make it up to Izuku somehow, Wise said. Agreed. Got any ideas, Winter asked. Well, a couple. But there is something he really likes. And it's worked before, Wise said. What is it? I'll do anything to apologize to him, Winter said. Well. One of his girlfriends is a rabbit faunus, Wise said, blushing. Winter blushed. Wise, you, Winter yelled. A few minutes later Deku arrived at the gardens to see a sweet and beautiful sight in front of him. There, sitting on a bench under a tree was Wise and Winter, both sleeping peacefully. Deku wished he could take in the sight peacefully, but Can I stop recording them already? This feels wrong, Deku said. Not as wrong as being denied scenes like this all my life. Our household has never had a relaxed enough climate that such things could happen, Willow said. You're really good at guilt tripping, you know that, Deku said. Mothers usually are. Speaking of which, I will be counting on you for those other things, my boy, Willow said. I believe my team will be able to qualify for the Vital tournament for the second thing to happen. But what are the other things I have to do? You haven't told me, Deku said. You'll find out soon enough, my dear, Willow said. That does not fill me with confidence, Deku said. Don't worry. You'll be the one doing the filling, Willow said. What? Deku asked. Willow then hung up. Welp. Guess I should wake them up, Deku said. Deku walked up to them and poked them on the cheek. Wakey wakey sleepy, Deku said. The next thing Deku knew, he was on the ground with his right arm in between two soft things and his head being crushed by something. Who are you and? Ijuku, Winter asked. Yes, Deku said, in pain. Winter. What are you doing? I thought you moved past this, Weiss said. I have, Winter said. Then let go of him, Weiss yelled. Oh, right, Winter said. Winter then released her grip and stood up along with Deku. Sorry about that. It was just instinct, Winter said. It's alright. I probably should have thought about you being an army specialist before I woke you, Deku said. Still again sorry, Winter said. Did you like it, Weiss asked. What, Deku and Winter yelled. You heard me, Weiss said. Weiss, why would you ask such a thing, Deku said. Weiss then walked up to Deku. Because we're going to be apologizing for our actions, Weiss said. Weiss then grabbed Deku's arm and placed it under her skirt. Weiss. What has gotten into you? Wind's right there, Deku said. I know, Weiss said. Winter then walked up, placed Ijuku's other hand on her chest. Do you like them, Winter asked. Deku's face went completely red and then proceeded to pass out. Oh, Weiss said. I thought you said he enjoyed sex, Winter asked. He does. But I think we may have pushed him a bit too far, Weiss said. I see. Let's take him to my quarters. He can recover there, and we won't be interrupted, Winter said. Winter and Weiss did just that, and once Deku woke up, they apologized for their actions. Meanwhile in Vale, someone had just arrived. And so, this is what has become of Vale. My goodness, I thought it hadn't been damaged that badly during the war. I can barely recognize it from Father's pictures. Where's the arches? Where's the triptychs? Where's the marble sculptures? Oh tight, those are in Atlas. A woman with white hair and wearing a blue and white dress said. Things that happened during an occupation, I guess. You'd think they would ask for some of it back, though. Probably got overlooked during the change of government, the woman said. She then sighed. Your great company, bucket of bolts. That'll teach me to prioritize security over entertainment, the woman said. The woman was with one of the new AK units. Well, at least I don't have to carry anything myself. Tit for tat. Now, let's find a hotel. Chop. Chop. Then I can try and make this evening less humdrum, the woman said. Deku and David were both working at Junior's, using their new identities as twins to avoid detection. They were nicely settling into their new roles. Well, someone's feeling relaxed enough to laugh, I see. Hope you're not back in the mindset of underestimating the job, Milshia asked. Milshia? No, I swear. I was just thinking that. Well. I was just thinking that the Painite twins are now part of the club's image, just as the two of you. And that's kind of funny to me, David said. Funny? Funny how, Milshia asked. It's just. Well, I have never given much thought about what I could be good at, but even so I would have never thought of something like this. It's weird how life can turn out, huh? All I did was walk in here one day, David said. Yeah, I guess that's understandable. Certainly wasn't in our plans, either, Milshia said. I figured. How did you end up working for Junior, then? How long has it been, David asked. It's been 4 years, now. And we ended up here after dropping out of hunter training, Milshia said. You mean Beacon, David asked. No. Beacon isn't the only hunter academy in Vale, you know. And I said training, anyway. It was less a school and more apprenticeship, Milshia said. I see. I guess it didn't work out, David asked. You could say that, yeah. We couldn't pass our final test. We never managed to awaken our semblances. Thus we didn't qualify for further instructions and had to figure out what to do with our lives, Milshia said. And that's when you came to Vale City. It doesn't sound like you're from here, David said. Excuse me. Are you saying I have an accent? Milshia asked. Yeah, just a little bit. It's pretty cute, it makes you stand out, David said. Did you completely miss the death glare I gave you? Milshia asked. Nah, I just decided to ignore it. As I said, I like your accent. Although, from what you tell me, you're making conscious efforts to reduce it, David asked. Yeah. I'm not like Melin, who can just turn it off whenever she feels like it. Honestly, so unfair. First school, then hunter training, then the job. Why is it always me who needs to slave away to learn a trade? Milshia asked. Huh? What do you mean? David asked. Nothing, I vented on you enough for one night. You should grab Izuku and go before you miss the last bullhead to Beacon, Milshia said. Right. I'll see you soon then. Good night, David said. Meanwhile, Deku was feeling pretty good about himself. He was starting to get regulars, and in such a short time. Are you trying to step on my toes, rookie? Trying to break my record for the most money spent by a client in one sitting? Who do you think you are? Melanie asked. How? What? Deku asked. There's a clear pecking order in this establishment, Izuku. It goes me, Milshia, the cleaners, David, and then you, Melanie said. What about Junior? Deku asked. What about Junior? Don't change the subject. You're meddling with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Rookie. And I won't have it, Melin said. So, in short, you don't give a damn, Deku said. Got you for a moment, though, didn't I? Melanie asked. Just a moment. Have I been doing that good? Deku asked. Not that good, but certainly good. Especially compared to the others who came before you, minus David, Melanie said. Guess we weren't the first attempt at expanding the workforce here at Juniors? Deku asked. Goodness, no. You and David are the first ones to stick with it for as long as you've done, though. I think the difference is that you two are actually interested in the job, Melin said. As opposed to what? Deku asked. As opposed to who, actually? Melanie said. Oh, I see. They thought they'd have more chances to get closer to the two of you as co-workers than clients, Deku said. Yup. Too bad that Milshia takes the job way too seriously to even think of giving them the time of the day. And you can imagine the kind of people who would have that mentality, so, no interest from me either, Melanie said. Oh. So you don't take the job seriously? Deku teased. I take it seriously enough. Milshia is way too high-strung, though. You'd think she'd learn to relax, after all these years. If she acted more naturally, she'd be making more than me, considering, Melanie said. Considering what? Deku asked. It's nothing. Anyway. I'm surprised I didn't see a hint of that from you. Do we scare you that much? Melanie said. Nah. It's just that I don't really have much time to interact with either of you when on the job. Also, I already have so many partners, I'm starting to think I may need to pull back on that. Gotta leave some fish in the sea, even if they're exotic, Deku said. You think we're exotic? Melanie asked. Well, yeah. The girls I know don't wear those kinds of outfits and have heel blades and claws, whilst serving clients in a club. You two are very different and unique, Deku said. You flatter. Trying to add us to your harem, King, Melanie said. Hey, I'm not some harem king. Everyone involved has a voice in the leadership. They can voice their concerns, bring another in, date someone else exclusively, or they can leave whenever they want. The only thing that matters is that everyone is happy, Deku said. I see, Melanie said. I should probably get going now before the last bullhead departs. I can see David coming over, Deku said. Oh, right. I see. I'll see you next shift, then, Melanie said. Yup. Good night, Melanie, Deku said. Deku then met with David and the two went to change and headed back to Beacon. End of chapter 65.